Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jackson. Thank you for joining us. Pleasure to have you with us. We're here in the lobby on a cold winter day here in Lancaster. Snow is with us already into February, and so maybe we can sneak through this a few more weeks and start thinking about some good weather in the future. I think it doesn't take many snows anymore to say we're tired of snow. Whoever's calling for this, we're done now. We've had enough. But we'll get through this. It'll just be another winter. This is Ohio. We live here. This is what we do up here in Ohio. Second half of the show today, I'm looking forward to talking to Becky Shade. Becky is the Executive Director of the Fairfield County District Library. They do so many things anymore, it's almost hard to keep up with all the things that the library is involved with. It's not your mom and dad's library as I remember it when I was a kid here in Lancaster. But our first half of the show today, it's a pleasure to have back with us. It's been a couple of years, or at least a year, better than a year, Judy Seifert. Judy is the director of Steffi's House, which is about 100 yards behind us right here, 1 North Broad. Have an office over there. Steffi's House, very special to you, more than just a business or a nonprofit. It has a real meaning for you why Steffi's House was developed. Stephanie was your daughter. You're a place, and it's good to talk about the mission here while we have a moment. They are committing to investing with victims of abuse and their journey to a violence-free life. I guess that's particularly important when we look at why Steffi's House was started. The story is a tough one. Want to share some of that with us about your daughter?
Stephanie was our only child. She was 39 years old. She had been divorced by dissolution from her husband, who they were married almost 20 years and had been together for 25 years. And after that 5-month period, he came to her home one evening and he beat Officer Randy Bartow, a Lancaster police officer, almost to death. And then he beat my daughter, and he left, and they thought it was over. And you hear Randy and Stephanie on the 911 call making preparation to go to the medical center for attention. And Stephanie, for whatever reason, goes to the door, and he is coming back in with a gun. And she goes screaming back to Randy, "We need to get out of here." He got into another fight with Randy and overpowered him and shot him to death. And then for 4.5 minutes, he taunted my child that she would be next. Steffi begged for her life. She tried to reason with him. But during that time, what gives me comfort, and the reason I listened as a Christian, Steffi's House is a 501c3 nonprofit Christian organization, and during that call, I heard what I wanted to know. God gave her clarity of mind, that you hear my daughter asking God to forgive her, and very faintly, it's such a horrific call that it's just, I wouldn't recommend anyone to listen. But during that time, you hear Stephanie very faintly say, "Jesus, will you please go with me?" So she knew she was going to die, and God gave her such clarity, prepared her soul. So for me, I know where she's at, and I'll see her again, but I sure miss her here.
Well, in the course of the last several years since Steffi's House has been up and running, Steffi's House, you've probably told that story 1,000 times, and I'm sure it's never any easier to discuss that and go through that, and it never will be, and that's okay. I mean, that's all part of this grieving process, and anyone that's lost a child understands that, but certainly horrific things you've got going. But out of that, so oftentimes, something good can come, and in this case has come. We have Steffi's House, where you deal with these instances just like you talked about, sometimes almost on a day-to-day basis when you're there. probably trying to make a difference in the lives of mostly the women and the kids, and I'm sure men too sometimes, but you see the moments of people that are perhaps at the very most difficult times of their lives. That's hard to see sometimes.
Yes. We have some people that do come into the office. Most of them call our 24/7 helpline,
Oh.
and that's where we talk to most of them most of the time. Also, we have a Facebook page, and women interact with me on that private messaging. One of our clients just recently finally left her husband, asked us to go to lunch with her closer to Valentine's Day because she's lonely and would just like to talk about it. So whatever our clients ask, we make sure that we try to accommodate them. So far, we've not turned anyone away for a request. We've even had people call that are homeless, and we've been able to help them get into a shelter. We've had people call with mental health issues, able to get them to counselors. And so we're a crisis center, we're a command center, we're not a shelter. But whatever their need is, if they call us, we do our best to point them to who can help them.
Let's point out, you talked about a 24/7 helpline. The number is 740-823-2000. They also have a website, steffyshouse.org, and a Facebook page. You can find all that online. Steffi's House is a women's and youth crisis center. We have the director, Judy Seifert, with us here to talk about that. And let's talk about the services you do. If somebody would call you, and of course the subject would be this domestic violence, you talk to them and then you try to, I'm sure, discern from them what their needs are. How can Steffi's House help them?
We are connected with the Ohio Domestic Violence Network, which is at the state level. We're on their website. We have their literature and all of the shelters for Ohio. And I have that booklet, and if someone calls, we've helped to get people into shelters into Parkersburg, West Virginia. We've helped people from Gallipolis, Ohio. We get calls from all over the state, calling us sometimes and interacting on Facebook. So it's not just locally. When you do have a website or a Facebook page, you have more exposure.
Sure.
And so a lot of time, most of the people are faceless, but every need, every person that's ever contacted us, I have a prayer stand in Steffi's House office, and I have all of their names written down, if they gave a name, if not, a description of the call, and they're prayed for every day for their need. And I encourage them, when I talk to them, we're still praying for you each and every day.
Steffi's House is our topic. Judy Seifert, director of that. And one of the things that's very important is fundraising in an organization like yours. You're not blessed with a lot of resources. You, of course, develop that and try to work on that, but you have fundraising efforts all the time going on that people can help.
We have 3. We have a golf outing first Saturday of May, and that's at the Hocking Hills Golf Course in Logan, Ohio.
That's coming up soon.
Yes. And then we have a annual 5K at the fairgrounds, Lancaster Fairgrounds. That's always the 4th Sunday in October. And then God blessed us last year. We got a concession stand at the Millersport Sweet Corn Festival, and that is a super
Prime location.
Plus, they allow us to put our brochures and information and literature around that. While we're getting their food, we see them reading the things we have posted. So it's a great way to get public education awareness.
So if do you need volunteers also, or is there, I know obviously we talked about the money need, that's always there and that's always going to be there, but you man a 24-hour, 24/7 hotline. Are volunteers needed in some capacity if someone would like to get involved?
For the volunteers that come and help, and we have quite a few that do, we need help with the Sweet Corn Festival booth, with the parades, with
the
tea
race.
events,
Sure,
yes.
sure, you
So
always
that's
need
where
help.
we need them. We've got a lot of things we want to see accomplished this year. We want to have a bike race. We have a domestic violence rally in October, and we hold it at the gazebo, and this will be our 3rd annual, and we want to have a bike ride prior to, for a cause, to bring in riders that would help draw attention. You got to get people talking about a topic to kind of solve that problem.
probably in some cases a difficult topic for some people to speak of, if in fact you don't have anybody in that world of domestic violence, and thank God most people don't. But I guess just getting that awareness out there to the general public who maybe don't want to not do anything, but just aren't aware of how they can help. Your places, I'm sure, helped hundreds of people. I don't know if you keep tally of any of that, but in the course of a couple of years, I imagine, are you seeing the numbers increase, unfortunately, or about the same?
Domestic violence, 1 in 4 women will be brutally attacked in some form of domestic violence within her lifetime. 1 in 3 will have some form of domestic violence. 1 in 4 men, every 20 people a minute are a victim of domestic violence here in America. So that equals out to about 10 million people in 1 year within our nation. It's a crisis. But as you say, most people don't want to talk about it. It's uncomfortable. We do a lot of public speaking. Since talking to you, I went to the Lancaster High School and spoken to the 9th grade health classes. I'll be going again this spring.
You deal with young people too.
I've been to the reporting center for 1 year through the Fairfield court, the juvenile court, spoke to them. So everywhere, churches, organizations, and everywhere I speak, somebody lingers behind, maybe 2 or 3, and shares their story with me. And it's people, sometimes their names in our community, that people. But at Steffi's house, you can be assured what you say there stays there, confidential. We don't share people's names or, what's happened to them. And God just keeps opening doors to bless women and, yes, children, teens.
Stephanie would be very happy, I think. Very pleased that out of such a horrific event, something so good can come of that. And in a community like this, you see that again and again. This is a type of community that is just begging for your place to succeed. I mean, people want to see your story told here.
Yes.
It's a great organization. I again, get the word out. Steffi's House, STEPHYS house.org. The number is 740-823-2000. Judy Seifert has been with us. Always a pleasure to have you back.
Thank you.
Maybe there'll be a time when we won't have to have you back, but I suspect that's somewhere off in the future, not needed. So I'd go to the website. Information on the golf outing is there. Information on your fundraising events, how people can volunteer to help them out here. So good luck in the future, and we'll get you back on here, and we'll talk about just the progress that you're making, and we hope the success stories that you can tell.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Judy Seifert from Steffi's House. We'll be back in just a moment on Fairfield Today.
The Frank E. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster or 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jasson. Thank you for joining us. I want to mention the good folks here at Fairfield Federal. And I always tell people, even in the kind of the downtime of a cold winter's day like this, sun is out, but it's still pretty cold and a lot of snow on the ground. Maybe not a lot going on at your place in terms of remodeling, but maybe you're thinking about something like that, or maybe even a new home is in the offing, maybe in the spring. That is right around the corner, we hope. And if you are, I'd invite you to look at fairfieldfederal.com. They have a very comprehensive website. If you have questions about any of these needs in terms of a home or remodeling or anything like that, many of those questions, the rates, anything, or not anything, but most things you need to know could be answered right there on the website. But they also have the phone numbers of the folks to call here. or at the West Side or at the Pickerington office. All the phone numbers are on there of people, your personal banker you can talk to. And again, we like to say that being a local financial institution like Fairfield Federal, decisions are made here locally. These are the people you see out at the grocery store each and every day. So the local decisions are made by local people, and I think that's important in a small community. So keep that in mind when you get online at fairfieldfederal.com. When I was a young person growing up in Lancaster, I spent an inordinate amount of time at what was then the West Side branch of the library. It was over on the corner of 6th Avenue and Harrison Avenue, now just catty corner from the firehouse. It's where Slater's has their pet grooming place. But for me, that was 2 blocks from my home, and I walked there almost every day. I spent a lot of time there. It was a tremendous resource. I always felt I was so fortunate to have that so close to my home. It made it, West School was right there, Sherman was right there, but the library was right there with it. Just a wonderful place to go. And I bring all this up for Becky Shade, who is the executive director at the Fairfield County District Library. First of all, Becky, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I can't think of many places in town that can run the numbers and tell us about things they do. Remarkable numbers. I tell that story about me going there. There were always a few kids there, a few adults. When I got into high school and college, the library was just across the street now where City Hall is, up there on the 2nd floor. Spent a good deal of time up there too, but then eventually you move in that location, and now here we are in 2018. The numbers that you folks serve in so many areas that is just unimaginable.
Yes. So in 2018, we circulated more than 1 million physical items at our library system.
That's unbelievable.
It is. So that's all the books, music CDs, DVDs, all of those materials that people check out. 1 million books going out, and then of course coming back in as well, checking them back in. It's great. Sometimes I'll get people who say, are people still using the library? Is that still a part of people's lives in the digital world we live in? And I can tell you, for us, absolutely. So 1 million items last year. Over 1 million items circulated in physical form. We had about 100,000 items in digital form that were circulated as well, which is great, but about 90% of our business is still that tangible item that you can hold in your hand.
I was just thinking about just a while back we had some days off. Not everybody, but there was some really bad weather came in and things were closed, and it just flashed through my mind that as a kid, when that occurred on those rare days, we didn't get them off as often as they do now, but when those rare days did hit that we got a day off of school, I would either go to the Y and play basketball, or I'd go to the library, because it was always open. No matter what happened with schools, the library was there. Do you still get a lot of people coming in on what might be days off?
Yeah, we do, for sure. So the library does its best to remain open through all kinds of weather. If there's a level 3 snow emergency, we would close, of course. But short of that, we really do not close. So on those days, especially like today where it's real cold and schools are closed because of that, but as the day goes on, it might get a little bit better. We'll have a lot of people coming in and taking advantage of our resources. A lot of families take advantage of that time to come in, check out some books, find something new to read, find something new to watch or listen to.
Well, you talk about, again, over 1 million physical items. That's total, everything in, out, everything's checked in and out. But the number of attendees at these programs, they're remarkable. Children, nearly 20,000 kids, over 1,000 teens, and over 11,000 adults. Just remarkable.
Just last year.
That come to the library in 2018.
Just 2018.
Are those record numbers?
They are very high. I won't say that I've gone back for the history of the library to say they're record. Yes, they are. That is a significant increase, about a 20% increase over last year, for example, 2017. So great numbers. All of our programs at the library, of course, are free, open to the public, and we are happy to provide those. Kids programs is always something. We've done story times, programs for children, and in the last few years we've made a real effort to increase our programs for teens and programs for adults, and I think that those efforts are paying off, as you can see by those numbers.
I still have my original library card.
Oh, I love that.
Just a little cardboard card. There was no no
barcode,
no
fancy.
Barcode, nothing you can
Nope,
check. It
nope.
just had my name and address on it, and that's all it had, and that worked. I'd show them that.
Yep.
They write it. I remember it used to be a time they wrote it down. They hand wrote it, and I'm sure we don't go to the Dewey Decimal. They used to have that big file box where you look up a book, where I'm sure now it's all on computers. I know that now.
It is.
But the libraries had to change to keep up. I guess that's a hallmark of what you do.
Absolutely.
Is things have changed. Everybody doesn't come in for just a book anymore.
Right. So I like to think of the library in the information business, and how people get information has changed, but their need for information has not changed. So when you need information, when you need recreation, we have all of those. We've got the physical books. We also have a lot of digital resources that people may or may not be aware of. You can check out ebooks with your library card for free. Download audiobooks. I was talking to somebody who actually works here at Fairfield Federal. They were paying for a subscription to a service to be able to download audiobooks so they could listen on their drive. And I said, you could get those at the library for free. And they said, really? I said, oh yeah, let me show you.
Wow.
Save you a few dollars every month. Why not?
Nice.
It's an available resource. Your tax dollars are already paying for it, so take advantage of it.
So people still want that, but
sure.
But the way they get it now has continued.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine what your job will look like in 10 years.
It is. But I think if we keep that idea of being a community center, if we keep that at the heart of what we're doing, I think we'll continue to grow and learn and still be a vibrant part of our community.
Becky Shade, Director of the Fairfield County District Library. We talked about a lot of things that you do and we know about, but I was looking at a list of things that I didn't know about, and I'm going to guess maybe some people did know about it. Something called Canopy with a K.
Canopy with a K. So this is brand new to us.
Okay.
We just started this service in December. So if you don't know about it, that could be why.
Okay.
It is a streaming movie service. So you log on to the website and you can stream or access 10 movies a month. So in the way that you would access things like on Netflix or Hulu, it's similar to that. So you can do it on your tablet, you can do it on your computer, you can do it if you have Apple TV or Roku, Chromecast,
Hulu,
those
that kind of things. Yes.
You can get it on your television. The content for Canopy is great. It's about 60% documentaries, so a lot of really educational, fascinating material that we may not have in physical form. About 20% of it is educational material, and then the remaining 20% is feature films. A lot of classics, really great kids materials. They have a Canopy Kids section with excellent source of streaming video. Parents should definitely check that out.
And so many kids have tablets, phones, now everything worked out for them.
Yep.
Looking at some of the other things, Creative Bug. Pretty cool thing with Giant Fabrics.
It is. Creative Bug is also a new service for us at the library, and it's on-demand video tutorials. So if you're a crafter and you enjoy making crafts of all types, this is something you'll want to check out. You create a free account with your library card, and then you can access as many video tutorials for crafting as you'd like. So they've got knitting, crocheting, bullet journaling, how to make those palette wood signs, all sorts of things. They've got the videos there to show you how to do it. They'll give you a list of materials. If there's a pattern that goes along with the craft you're doing, that's downloadable there as well. So really great resource. We have a lot of really crafty people in Fairfield County, I can tell you for sure.
And you can probably track how many people use this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we'll have numbers for that in a year. We'll look at that.
Yep.
And here's one it was Canopy with a K. This is Linda with a Y.
Yes.
Lynda.com. On-demand video tutorials.
Yeah. This is amazing. This is a resource that the library has been given through the Ohio Public Library Information Network. That's OPLIN, so it's a state resource for libraries. All public libraries in Ohio now have access to lynda.com. And what Lynda is it has on-demand video tutorials to increase your job skills. So computer management, leadership, customer service, AutoCAD, a million different topics on how to upskill your resume on lynda.com. available for free to anyone with a library card in any public library in Ohio.
Nice.
It's the first partnership of its kind with Linda. They'd never done a statewide partnership like this before. Linda itself is a Microsoft company. It's a Microsoft product, very well written, very great video tutorials. This is not like going on YouTube and figuring out how to do it. It's curated materials. You can buy a subscription as an individual to Linda, and it costs $25 a month. With your library card, 100% free. Wow. Only in Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It is a
Linda,
amazing
LYNDA.com.
To access that, you do need to go onto the library's website and access it through the library's website, because that's how it will authenticate you to get the free subscription.
And you're involved in it, and well, you should be, with the AHA Children's Museum.
Oh my goodness, this is one of my favorite things that we did in 2018. You've probably spoken with Wendy Gregory before. She is an amazing person. She's director at AHA, and she is very committed to making that museum open to everyone in our community, no matter what their financial resources may be. So she had approached me last year about the possibility of the library circulating passes for the AHA Children's Museum. So what we have is a pass that someone can check out with their library card, take it to the museum, and it would allow 4 people to get into the AHA Children's Museum at no cost to them.
Nice.
Which is an amazing thing.
Great relationship.
Great relationship. It's great. People that maybe wouldn't have the funds to go to that museum and explore and see everything they have to offer can do that with their library card. People who might just want to try it out can see, and maybe then a membership would become, something that they would like to purchase because they tried it. It's just a great way to make sure that that resource is accessible to everyone in our community. So we're excited to be a part of that, and have to give all the credit there to Wendy and the staff at AHA. They do a great job, and I really appreciate them being so open to that idea.
Just got about a minute left, but I wanted to touch on this Flipster digital magazine.
Yeah, this is something also new in 2018. 2018 was a very big year for the library, for sure. We do have access to digital magazines through the app called Flipster. I love digital magazines because they aren't crowding up my coffee table and waiting for me to take them to the recycling bin. They all live on my tablet, and I can flip through. You can clip articles and save them if you're interested in the digital format. Really very easy to use, which is great. So if you ever have trouble with any of these digital resources, though, I would encourage anyone, come on down to the library. We'd be happy to help you figure it out. Bring your device, your iPhone, your Android, your tablet, and we can help you.
Becky Shea, the director of the Fairfield County District Library. My golly, we have you on only a couple times a year, and there's always so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that. I hope you can survive 2019 with all the things you've added in 2018. It's going to be an exciting.
It's going to be a great year.
Great year. Well, thank you. The library is a wonderful resource. We're fortunate to have it right downtown here, just about a block away from here. So thanks for all you and all your folks at the library do. Give them all our best. We're very thankful they're here to help us.
I will do. Thank you so much.
Becky Shea with Fairfield County District Library. Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.